If you're an AT&T customer, you're going to want to pay attention to this review. It's the Motorola Atrix 4G, and this phone is a potential iPhone killer. Let's talk specifications. This phone has an NVIDIA Tegra 2 dual-core processor with 1 GHz at each core, and it has 1 GB of RAM. We also have an astounding 1930 mAh battery pack, which gave us one of the best performances on a smartphone to date, maybe even the best. Aside from the ability to connect to AT&T's HSPA Plus networks, the Motorola Atrix 4G has a front-facing VGA camera. It also has a 5-megapixel main camera with dual LED flash and the ability to record 720p HD video. This phone also has 16 gigabytes of built-in NAND flash, but it has a micro SD card slot for more memory if you need it. A few more specs: we have a 4-inch QHD screen with an excellent resolution. It's almost equivalent to Apple's Retina display, and if you stack it up next to an iPhone 4, it's got a ½ inch of extra real estate, and that really came into play. That's a big factor. As you've probably seen in our reviews, I'm a huge motorcycle fan, and the fact that the Atrix 4G has a faux carbon fiber back to it is just beyond tasty. Also, we weren't crazy about the power lock button, which is recessed in the back. It's kind of hard to press, but we were reminded of its usefulness when it was never inadvertently toggled on or off in our pockets. The Motorola Atrix 4G runs Android 2.2 and Moto Blur, which is not as glamorous as HTC Sense, but it's very useful if you're into social networking, and all of your account settings and phone settings can be retained with a Moto Blur account. So all we had to do was sign in once to Moto Blur. All of our accounts were carried over from our previous phones that we reviewed. So that is definitely a big plus. As we stated earlier, battery life was probably the best we've seen on a smartphone. It has 3 different battery modes, one of which is a super battery saver, and it lasted us for days on standby. Excellent battery life on this phone. You really can't ask for better in the smartphone realm. As far as call quality, it was decent. It got by. It wasn't the best call quality that we've seen from a phone, but Atrix 4G is definitely a decent choice when it comes to that. Now let's talk camera and image quality. We tested the Atrix 4G against the T-Mobile G2X. The G2X beat it pretty significantly. The Atrix 4G did not have the definition. It really didn't have any help in low light, aside from its dual LED flash. We could not toggle the video light while recording HD videos, or any videos for that matter, and it did not have touch focus. If you're looking for the best camera on a phone, it's not on the Atrix 4G. It's good, gets the job done, but it's definitely not the best. Now, our tour of this phone is going to be a little bit different. We're just going to cover the bare essentials of the Android 2.2 and Moto Blur experience. But the Atrix 4G is also compatible with a slew of accessories, and we're going to showcase those throughout the tour. Here we go, the Atrix 4G. We're going to do a quick little tour here. We have Android 2.2 and Moto Blur. So you can see 7 home screens here. We get the classic drop-down menu, and here are our applications. Up and down scrolling. Let's get back out of here. And Moto Blur brings us a lot of widgets. We have a lot of different sized. There's our Twitter feeds, email. We also have MySpace. Let's scroll over here. We have contacts and favorites. We could choose how we want to correspond with them. Now here we are in the browser. Let's double tap to zoom here. As you see, we get text wrapping. We can also pinch and zoom. Let's zoom all the way in here and compare this to an iPhone 4. As you can see, both screens are very similar. Resolution is top notch. And Android 2.2 lets us play Flash content courtesy of Flash 10.1 support. And the sync is right on target. We did not have any lagging or problems with this phone. Overall, a very quick phone. And even for gaming, it has an accelerometer. Thanks to the QHD screen, it has top-notch graphics, and you can see the frame rate is spot on. Okay, so this is the first accessory and probably the most useful. This is the laptop dock, and we're going to use the USB and HDMI terminals to connect to it in the back. There we are. And let us open this up. As you can see, we're loading a laptop experience, and look, this is our emulation of what we see on the phone. This is what they call mobile view, so we can actually access anything on the phone through the laptop. But you're going to want to use the following. There's Firefox, and when you use Firefox, that's more of a complete web experience. And the benefit to having something like this is that the Atrix 4G uses Citrix, and Citrix is a remote program that allows you to access your work computer. So you could take your laptop and your laptop dock, and you could take your Atrix 4G, and you could actually work from home or anywhere as long as you're using Citrix to connect to the network. And as you can see, we have a full web experience here. Now we're going to pop, we also have Facebook, and we're going to pop over to Motorola's Entertainment Center, which accesses everything on the phone multimedia wise. Music, pictures, videos. So as you can see, we could use the arrows to scroll through, and we're going to check out videos here and see how they look. And we're taking them from the camera. Here we're browsing through all of our files, and let's just go with the first one here. And here we are. And we get 720p played in HD on the monitor. And it's worth noting that we also have optional accessories, a Bluetooth keyboard and a Bluetooth mouse. Now we're using the Multimedia or HD dock, and in this it can act as a widget clock, and we can scroll through. There's our gallery, DLNA, pictures, and it's basically an alarm clock. Now let's jump out of this, and we get this handy remote control. So we want to go to camera. We can basically scroll through all of our pictures using this remote control, and this is ideal if you're wirelessly streaming to an HD monitor or other device. And we could also go home from here. We could use back, we could use menu, and we could scroll through and basically access the phone using this remote control. Now on the back here we have USB terminals, 3 USB terminals. We have an HDMI connection, so you could throw it right to an HDMI monitor. So this is not necessary in our eyes, not as useful as the laptop dock, but it's top notch. There's also a vehicle dock, and the vehicle dock is basically something to make Garmin very angry with. So here's our InfoSync diagnosis with the Motorola Atrix 4G. There are not many phones out there like this. The versatility of the various docks, the laptop, the vehicle, and the multimedia. You also have the dual core speed. You've got Moto Blur syncing all of your accounts together. You've got the best battery life on a phone to date in this genre. The Motorola Atrix 4G is definitely a solid alternative to an iPhone 4. Is it an iPhone 4 killer? It very well could be. I had a very difficult time choosing between this and the iPhone 4 at the AT&T store, and I know you will too. For the entire Motorola Atrix 4G review, go to infosyncworld.com for image samples, video samples, and the full analysis. Until next time, I'm Mike Broman.